Today I'm gonna show you all how to make these leg warmers. It's pretty simple, to be honest. It's just like a normal flared leg warmer with bows on the bottom right here where there are 2 slits, and then a ribbing on the top, and then some ties where you can lace it up your leg basically. And just for reference, I'm going to show you all the measurements. So across is around 5.5 inches, and that's 14 centimeters. The length is around 11 inches, and that is 28 centimeters. So going over the materials, you're basically going to use whatever yarn and hook that you want. I'm using a strand of sport weight yarn and a strand of lace weight yarn with a 3.5 millimeter hook. If you're unsure what type of hook you should use for your yarn, usually the yarn label will let you know what size to use. And then I just have my darning needle or tapestry needles, a scissor, and then some stitch markers if you like using them. Okay, so to start off, we're going to make a slip knot. In order to make one, you're going to wrap the yarn around your finger twice, and then you're going to bring the second bar right here over the first, the second one once again over the first, and just slip it off your finger, and then insert your hook into this knot that the yarn makes and tighten onto your hook. So your slip knot should look like this. And then we're going to start our first round by making foundation double crochets. And in order to start doing that, you're going to chain 3. So you should have your chain 3 right here, and then you're going to yarn over, insert your hook through this leg right here on the side, this top one, along with the one behind it, so it should be that back ridge. So you should have both of these legs on your hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. And then to continue doing that, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into this leg right here, along with the one behind it. So you should have 2 of these legs on your hook. And then you're going to yarn over, pull through those 2 legs, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And you're basically going to be repeating this pattern until the width of this part right here, this row right here, or this round measures your calf circumference minus either 2 inches or 3 inches, depending on how much tighter you want the leg warmer to be on the top. Okay, so I finished my first round, as you can see here, and we're just going to connect this into the round by making it into a circle and then inserting your hook into the first stitch right here. You should make sure to insert it into both legs, so like the V part right here. And then you're basically just going to slip stitch it together. So you're going to yarn over, pull through these 2 legs, and then pull through here. So it should look something like this. And then you're going to chain 2, and you're going to start your second round. But actually, before we start our second round, I'm going to sew this bottom part together so it doesn't like mess me up. Because you did a foundation double crochet, there's going to be like a bit of a gap there as compared to when you do chains. So what I like doing is I just like sewing it up first by taking the tail right here from the slip knot, putting it on a darning needle, and then inserting your needle through these 2 legs down here, pulling through with that darning needle, and then inserting it into the 2 legs back here. You should pull that tightly, and then just basically weave in your ends. And there are like 15 million ways of weaving in your ends, so you can do whatever you like, but for me, when I'm working with the foundation double crochet, I just weave it in through these 2 like V looking things on the side, and I just do that until I basically run out of yarn to weave in. And then we're going to continue our round 2. So what I like doing after every single round, and you should do this too so you don't have like this weird side slant, is I basically just turn after chaining 2. And then I like marking my first stitch because it helps me not skip one. So just mark your first stitch if that helps you. And then do you see this slip stitch right here that we made? That doesn't count as a stitch, so make sure you don't work into this slip stitch right here. And the chain 2 that you make in the beginning of every round also does not count as a stitch, so you should just keep that in mind. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to do back post and front post double crochets. So starting from this stitch right here, you're going to make a front post double crochet, and in order to do that, you're going to insert your hook behind this entire stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And then you're going to do that once more for a total of 2 front post double crochets. So it should look like this. And then you're going to make back post double crochets. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook from the back completely through one of these stitches. It looks like this in the back. And then you're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Once more, you're going to make a back post double crochet into this next stitch. You're going to yarn over, insert your hook from the back to the front, and then to the back once more. So it should look like this in the back, and then this in the front. You're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 more. And you're basically going to be repeating this front post and back post double crochet around your entire second round. Okay, so I've reached the end of my round, and as you can see here, I have 1 more stitch, so I'm going to put my back post double crochet into that stitch like so. And then I'm just going to remove my stitch marker. And then you should have something that looks like this. You're going to slip stitch to the beginning of your round by finding the first double crochet that you made. Well, this is a front post double crochet, but find the first front post double crochet that you made. So it's this one right here, and you can see the stitch right here. You're going to slip stitch into the top of that. Okay, and then just mark the stitch right here, since that's going to be your last stitch for your third round, and you're going to chain 2 and turn over. So once again, when you're turning after chaining 2, the slip stitch does not count as a stitch, so you're going to not work into this one, instead work into this stitch right here and make a double crochet. And you're going to be working 1 double crochet into every stitch all around this entire round for a total of 2 rounds. So that is your round 3 and 4. Okay, so I've reached the end of my round. I'm just going to remove my stitch marker, and then I'm going to work 1 more double crochet into this last stitch. And then in order to close your round, you're going to locate or identify the first double crochet that you ever made. So in my case, it's this one right here. So I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that. And then you're going to repeat the same thing for your 4th round. Okay, so I've reached the end of my 4th round. Again, I'm just going to work a double crochet into my last stitch, and then slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet that I made in this round. And then you're going to chain 2, turn over. Again, if it helps, just put a stitch marker in that last stitch right here. And for this round, we're actually going to be making 1 increase. So in your first stitch, again, skip the slip stitch that you made because it doesn't count as a stitch. You're going to work 2 double crochets into the first stitch, and that counts as your increase. And then you're going to work just 1 double crochet into every other stitch. And then for the next row, you're just going to work 1 double crochet into every single stitch. Okay, so I finished my round, which was the 6th one, and from this point on, what you're basically going to be doing is you're going to be alternating between increase and no increase rounds. So for your increase round, you're going to be working 2 double crochets into the first stitch and then 1 double crochet into the rest of the stitches. And then for your no increase round, you're going to be working 1 double crochet into every stitch. And again, you're going to be repeating those 2 rounds over and over again until your leg warmer length is to basically your desired length from wherever you want it to start. So for me it was mid-calf and then to my ankle basically. Once you've made your leg warmer as long as you want, we're going to start working the flare on the bottom, which will basically just go over your shoe. And so in order to do that, you're going to once again chain 2 and then turn over like I already have. And then you're going to start off by making an increase. So you can make this increase by again working 2 double crochets into the next stitch. And then we're going to work 2 double crochets just normally, so 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches like so. And then you're going to increase again by working 2 double crochets into the next stitch. Once again working 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and you're basically going to be repeating that same pattern, working an increase, so 2 double crochets into 1 stitch, and then working 2 double crochets into each of the next 2 stitches, and then just repeating that over and over again around your entire round. Alright, so I've reached the end of my round. As you can see, I made my increase and then my 2 normal double crochets, and instead of making another increase here, since we can't finish that pattern, I'm just going to work 1 double crochet. And then again, what you're going to do to close the round is you're going to slip stitch to the first double crochet that you ever made, and then you're going to chain 2 and turn over. And at this point, we're actually going to start working in rows. So this part where you left off, just make sure that it's flat on one side and the other side is also flat like this. You're going to take a stitch marker and then just mark the other side. So as you can see, the way I finished off is on one side, my stitch marker is on the other, and then I'm going to now work in rows. So to start your first row, you're going to be working an increase, so 2 double crochets into the first stitch. And then you're going to work 1 double crochet into every single stitch until you reach the last one. So my last one is this one right here before the stitch marker. I've reached my last stitch here, so what you're going to do is make an increase by working 2 double crochets into that last stitch. And then as per usual, you're going to chain 2 and turn over. And you're basically going to be repeating this first row for 2 more times for a total of 3 rows. So again, you're going to increase by working 2 double crochets into the first stitch, and then you're going to just work 1 double crochet into every single stitch until you reach the last stitch right here. And then you're going to work an increase, so work 2 double crochets into the last stitch. And you're doing that again for 2 more times for a total of 3 rows. Once you're done with that, you're going to chain 1 because our last row will be a single crochet row. You're going to turn over, and then you're going to increase in every stitch. And how you're going to do that with single crochets is just like double crochet, you're going to work 2. So you're going to work 2 single crochets in every single stitch of this last row. And once you're done with it, you're just going to fasten off like me, and then you're going to be repeating these rows right here for this side. Okay, and just in case you don't know how to attach your yarn or work on the other side with this leg warmer, what you're basically going to do is attach it however you would like. Some people use a slip knot, some people just pull it through and have a loop there. I personally like knotting it. And then what you're going to do next is chain 2, and this chain 2 as always doesn't count as a stitch, so you're going to work into the same stitch with a double crochet just like your first row right here, and then you're going to work another double crochet in there because again we are increasing in the first stitch. And then as per always, you're going to work 1 double crochet in each of these stitches until you reach the last stitch right here, and in this last stitch you are going to work another increase, so 2 double crochets, and then the rest of the rows are basically the same as the other side. So once you finished your rows, your leg warmer should look something like this on the bottom. I've just turned it so that the slits are on the side because that's how it will be facing. And we're going to start making these little bows on the bottom. And you can actually just skip this part if you don't prefer this, but I think they're cute, so I will show you all how to make that. So to start making those bottom bow ties, what you're going to do is you're going to make your slip knot. And then you're literally going to just chain until your entire chain measures around 12 inches. And if you want longer bows or bigger bows, you can just chain a bit more than that. And make sure you're chaining loosely, because if you chain super tightly, your life will be super difficult when you're slip stitching down the chain. And then once you're done chaining, you're going to flip your chain so that you can see these back ridges. So these are the back ridges right here. And you're going to skip the first ridge and slip stitch into the second ridge. And you're basically going to be slip stitching down the entire back ridge of your chain. Alright, so I have one stitch left, so once again I'm going to work a slip stitch into that last one, and then I'm going to chain one to secure and then fasten off. And in order to secure the end of these ties, it's actually really quite easy. You can just knot it twice and just make sure that that knot is like super tight. And then you can literally just snip off the ends. And for me at least, when I've done these types of ties, it's never unraveled. So I feel like it shouldn't unravel for you as well. And then we're going to fix the ties to the bottom of our leg warmer on one side. So what you're going to do is locate that first row that you did, and then just locate like the first stitch and slide your hook underneath it. Like this. And then you're going to take your tie and just slip it through. Like so. And you can tie your bow. And how I like tying my bow is I'm just going to make sure that these ends are even, and then you can just knot it like so. So it should look like this. There should be one on the top and one on the bottom facing like this. You're going to loop your bottom one, take your top one, and just lay it over the bottom one like this. And you see this hole right here? You're going to push it up like this, and it kind of creates in what I think at least is like the perfect bow, because it just lays flat like this rather than looking really wonky. And you're basically going to be repeating this instruction for the other side of your leg warmer. Okay, and then once you're done with the bow ties on the bottom, we're going to work the strappy lace ups on the top. And what you're going to basically do is, do you see how this slit is right here? You're basically going to drag your finger kind of up and then locate like where the top of your leg warmer, where the slit is. And so for me, that's right here. I'm going to fasten my yarn to this stitch right here. And what you're going to do next is literally the same thing as the bottom bow, except you're just working from the actual leg warmer. You're going to loosely chain until your chain either measures 30 inches or 60 inches. And then once you are done chaining the amount that you desire, you're going to now slip stitch down your chain. So you're going to skip this first stitch right here, and you're going to slip stitch into the second one. And then as per usual, you're just going to keep slip stitching all the way down the chain until you reach the first chain. I have reached the last stitch right here, and for the last stitch you're basically also going to be slip stitching. And then do you see the stitch where we have attached our yarn at the very beginning? You're going to just slip stitch into that, chain one to secure, and then fasten off. And then what you're going to do next is take a stitch marker, and then do you see how this is on this side right here? You're going to just flip it so that you can see it from the top, and you're going to insert just like a stitch marker right across. And then exactly where that stitch marker is, you can just remove it after you've marked it. You're going to attach your yarn there. And then you're basically going to be repeating the same exact instructions as the other side of your tie. Alright, so basically to finish off your leg warmer, you're going to have to weave in your ends. So I will show you all how I personally like doing that. So for this top part, in my opinion, it's a bit difficult to weave in your ends for these front post and back post double crochet rounds. So what I personally like doing is I'll literally take my needle and just weave it downwards like this. Okay, and then next I'm just going to locate these legs of the double crochet, and I'm basically going to thread my needle through these legs, and there should be 2 legs each stitch. Okay, and then lastly, just to secure everything, and then what I do is I take my needle and I work back through these legs, but make sure that this leg that you came out of, you skip that one and you just work back from the second way all the way down. I'm just going to pull it all through one more time. And then what I like to do is I just like to like pull it a little bit just to like make sure that everything's even, and then with the rest of these yarn tail ends you can just snip that off. And so you might be wondering how to weave in this bottom part, and it's really quite easy. It's like sort of the same method. So I personally don't like weaving it in through the single crochets because it can be kind of tight. So what I do is I just take my needle and just weave it down until you reach these double crochets right here, and then you're going to stick your needle like through the legs of the bottom of the double crochets like this. Okay, and then you honestly don't need to stick it through too many. And then what you'll do is you'll just pull through and then weave it back, skipping the one that you came out of. So I'm just gonna weave it back with the end of the needle like this. And you can just fasten off and repeat for the other side. And once you're done weaving in all your ends, of course, you're just going to repeat the same instructions that you followed for one leg warmer for another one. So I've already made my 2, and then basically you are finished. Yay.